pieces. All right, let's call it delta. What am I multiplying together to find the determinant of D? Which is negative times a negative is a positive. And Tristan, what's the other two things I have to multiply? And what is 3 times 4? Okay, not too bad, right? So will you take a minute on your paper and do number 5 and 6? If you do 5 and 6 very quickly, with that extra time while I'm waiting to make sure everyone's got it, you could go on number 1, 2, 3, or 4. They should be a review. So if you're not sure, maybe dig through your notes. So start with 5 and 6. Those are the only ones that are 2 by 2s. And then if you're done very quickly, you go and work on 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, because we use the determinant to find the inverse. Just do 5 and 6 first, and then go back and do 1, 2, 3, 4 if you have extra time. Negative 4. Good. Good. Okay. Um, the reason why I wanted to make sure you tried a couple on your own, the first one should have been -4. Number 5 is -4. The determinant on 6 is -18. You have to be able to do the determinant to find the inverse. It's step number 1. So we are going to do number 9 together. So I will write that on the board so that you can watch, you can follow along. Oh my gosh, please just do your thing. 0, -3. Okay, step number 1, and this is to find the inverse. So on your notes, we are shifting gears. We're going to now find the inverse of this matrix. So when you have an inverse, this is just a little side note. Like if I have 2/3 and I multiply it by its inverse, what do I get? 6/6, which is 1. So I'm going to show you a process to find, and remember how we multiplied? It was like this times this plus this times, like remember that whole system? So we're going to find that matrix where if we go through that whole system, we will get a 1. And I'm not going to make you multiply today. We're just going to show you the steps. So step number 1, find the determinant. So you find it on your paper, I will find it up on the board. Actually, I'm going to do it below. If you haven't started writing it down, do it below this. Did y'all get 3 for your determinant? Yeah. Okay. Once you find the determinant, we are going to reciprocate it. Does anybody remember what a reciprocal is? Yeah. So if you don't remember what that is, it's 1 over the determinant. So for this one, it's going to be 1/3. That's our reciprocal. Now this is the part that's kind of weird. Just 1/3. Okay. If you're coming up with a perpendicular slope, you do the negative reciprocal, and maybe that's what your brain's thinking of. Am I out of staples? Okay. Please write this part down. So we have our original A, B, C, D. And be thinking about when we multiply, how we do all that weird, this time, row times a column, row times a column. I think this kind of takes care of that. So you're going to rewrite your matrix, and you're going to switch the place of D and A. So these ones here get to switch spots. So D will be in the top left, and A will be in the bottom right. What color haven't I used? Green. C and B get to stay in their same spot, but you change their signs. So let's see what that looks like. A and D have to switch spots. One and -3 get to stay in their corners, but their sign will change. So if it's positive, it will become negative. If it's negative, it will become positive. Okay, so step number 1, we found the determinant. We are good at that. Step number 2, we did the reciprocal. Step number 3, we do some switching around. This is kind of mimicking that multiplication thing. I don't know. I don't know how that helps find the inverse. That's a good question. I'll figure it out. The fourth thing we do is we're going to, this is a scale. Do you remember on the first day of matrix how we were scaling them and we were distributing that number to everything in the parentheses? So we are going to apply the scale, I don't know, which means to multiply. So if you don't know what that means, apply the scale. It means we're going to multiply that fraction by everything inside. And this will be our inverse. So I don't have room out to the side to put it. If you have room out to the side, I kind of like to go out to the side, out to the side, out to the side. Some students last period were having a hard time multiplying a fraction times a whole number. So in my mind, this is what I'm picturing. Oops. Top times top, bottom times bottom. So all of them are just going to be, the 3 will be on the bottom, and the other number will be on the top. Is there any we can reduce? So, yes. 1/3 times 3 is going to be 3 over 3. So maybe some of you will just leave it like that, 3 over 3. If you notice the fraction can be reduced, reduce it, or your answer won't match my answer. Yeah, so that's your inverse. And I've seen it, they didn't really give our vertex a name, but let's say this is vertex B. They would call this B prime. No, I'm lying. B to the -1, sorry. Remember when we did sine, cosine, and tangent, and when we did the inverse, we had that button on our calculator that had that -1? It's the same idea. That must mean inverse in math language. Okay. I feel like we should do one more together before I set you free. Any requests? 23? You can do it by yourself if you want. I'll do number 18 with you. If you want to do 18 with us, you can do 18 with us. If you feel like you're ready to go, the ones that are assigned to you, we're not doing any of the 3x3s today. You're skipping the 3x3s. I can show you later. And yeah, don't cross them out. We're doing them with our calculators on Monday. Okay, so I'll do 18 with you, if you want me to. I don't know why that tile is locked. That's a good question.
Wait. So I think by locking that one, we can't remove the ones around it. And you know how smart people are? Like, they're not smart.
Okay. So if you're looking up at me, I'm going to assume you're doing this one with me, and I'll call on you to help. No one's doing this one with me? Tyler, what do we do first? Step number 1, find the determinant. You find yours, I will find mine. I'm going to write it underneath so that I can do my work out to the side. That's a ginormous.
Don't worry, it doesn't end up being. Wait, what did you do?
I don't know. Oh, sorry. I was like, this is going to be huge. It is. And this is minus. All right, Luke, what do I do with that 7? Sorry, when I draw all over it, it's really hard to see when I'm switching. All right, CJ, what goes in my top left corner? Yes. And then what will go down on the right then?
Down to the right is A or 7.
So I switch those first. And then Tate, what do I do now? They get to stay in their corners, but their signs change. Oh. Oh no, I don't have room for it. Put my negative in my brackets. Okay, Ambrose, what do I do now? Yep, so this is my scale factor. I'm going to scale everything. Is that right? Oh, yeah, that's right. These are like the weirdest answers. I do have the answer sheet. It's not hard to do these, but you probably want the steps. You probably want the steps there. So I'll write them on the board again so that they're up here for you to see. So these are the ones that I want you to work on. And I have no idea what time is it. What time is school get up today? 1:30? You have plenty of time. What? I just don't ever get it. Yeah, take. With which ones? Oh. Okay, I'll be there in a sec. Wow, that looks horrible. Oh, there's something I forgot to tell you. Can I have your attention up front? All eyes on me.
All eyes on you.
If you go to find your determinant and it is a 0, it won't have an inverse. So you can stop right then and just write no inverse. Because if you do all the work and you get to this point, what's 0 times and 0 and 0? They're all zeros. That's not an inverse. By definition of inverse, it's not an inverse. So if you find that the determinant is a 0, so if the determinant is a 0, you get to stop right there because it won't have an inverse. Okay, I'll come help in just a sec. I'm going to push